So today we're going to get into a classic, an absolute classic urban legend, the cursed mirror. You know the one. It's a story that really gets under your skin, tapping into that primal fear, that the face looking back at you might not actually be your own. We're going to break down the story itself, but also what makes it tick, what makes this tale so incredibly unsettling.
It always kicks off with a question just like this, something simple and really chilling. This is the hook. I mean, let's be honest, who hasn't been in a quiet room, staring into a mirror for just a second too long and felt that little flicker of unease? That's where the legend grabs you.
You know, like a lot of great horror, it has to start somewhere totally normal. It almost always kicks off with something you or I might do, finding this beautiful old antique mirror at a thrift shop or maybe a flea market. And that's the key, right? It's an object with a history, a past you know nothing about, a past that's about to become your problem.
And at first, everything is great. You hang it up, you step back, you admire it. It just fits. It looks perfect. There's zero hint of anything strange to come. It's that calm before the storm, that deceptive, cozy sense of normalcy.
And this is the turn. This is where it all starts to shift. The comfort of your own home, your own room, starts to feel just a little bit off. There's this subtle wrongness that begins to creep in, and it all seems to be coming from that new mirror.
Okay, so now we get to the first real signs. This is where the story really starts to escalate. The main character starts noticing little things, details that don't just feel strange, they actively start to mess with their sense of reality. And of course, it almost always happens at that classic witching hour, 3 in the morning. They say that's when the veil between our world and whatever else is at its thinnest. You jolt awake and you just have that gut feeling that you are not alone.
So you glance over at the mirror, maybe from your bed. Your eyes are wide open, you are 100% conscious, and your heart is just pounding in the dark as you stare into that glass.
And there it is, the first impossible moment, the first major break from reality. The person looking back at you, your twin in the mirror, has their eyes closed. They are completely, totally asleep while you're staring wide-eyed in absolute horror. This is the core fear, isn't it? Taking someone you trust to show you the truth and having it lie to your face.
Your rational mind immediately tries to kick in, right? You blink, you rub your eyes. It has to be a shadow, it's got to be a weird angle, maybe you're just tired. Your mind is just scrambling for an explanation. And that moment of self-doubt is so important because it keeps you teetering on that edge of, am I crazy or is this really happening?
But you can't rationalize this away. You look closer, and you see it. In the reflection, there's a figure. A dark, blurry shape standing right behind your own reflection. And your blood just runs cold. You whip your head around expecting to see someone, to confront them, but the room is empty. There's no one there. The thing, it only exists in that world behind the glass, and it's watching you.
So this brings us to the climax of the story. All that passive observation, all that creepy watching from the sidelines, that's over. The boundary between our world and the mirror world is about to be broken, and not in a gentle way.
And the horror just explodes. It's brutally simple. The reflection, your own double, reaches out of the mirror. It breaks the plane of the glass and makes physical contact. Sometimes the story says blood is dripping from its eyes. The threat isn't just watching anymore. It's an active, physical attacker. And the last rule you thought was safe has just been shattered.
So, that's the story part. Terrifying, right? But what's the supernatural engine running this thing? Now we get to shift from storyteller to investigator and really deconstruct the lore that gives this legend so much power.
This is really the big question, isn't it? What's the deal here? Is the object itself evil, or is there something trapped inside of it? Well, the lore offers a couple of really fascinating and frankly terrifying explanations.
Yeah, it's not just one single idea. Like any great urban legend that's been passed around for years, the why of it all has kind of evolved. And it's boiled down to a few distinct possibilities, each one playing on a different kind of fear.
So here are the two big ones. On one hand, you've got the trapped souls theory. This one plays on our fear of the past, right? The idea that a person's pain or trauma can literally stain an object forever. The mirror becomes a prison for ghosts. But the dark portal theory, that's different. That's a fear of the unknown. It says the mirror isn't a reflection at all. It's a window. A window to some twisted, dark version of our world that's actively looking back. One is basically a ghost story. The other is straight-up cosmic horror.
So, the legend gives us a pretty clear set of red flags to look for. These aren't just random spooky things. They're like the established rules of the curse. You've got the reflection acting on its own. That's the first major breach. Then you're seeing figures that aren't really there, confirming something else is present. And finally, that physical interaction. That's the endgame. That's the final, terrifying escalation.
When you boil it all down, this is what it's really about. The absolute terror of the cursed mirror comes from taking this thing we use every single day to confirm our own existence and turning it into a liar. Something that betrays the laws of reality itself. It's a fundamental violation of the trust we have in our own eyes.
And that's the question the legend is built to leave you with, isn't it? It takes a totally normal, everyday act and injects it with this potential for horror. It makes you pause and just wonder about that silent observer who has your face, living just on the other side of the glass. What are they thinking? And are you really, really sure they're on your side?